this is awful, but whatever. It's a mix of like Burzum and The Cure,
Oh
so
wow.
the vocals are very harsh, the music's really pretty, so it's just sits perfectly in that like I don't know if you want to call it like DSBM or that shoegaze black metal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I've seen that
we've
pick
done a
up
few.
too. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry. And like um because admittedly I mean outside of like maybe Burzum, I want to get in trouble, but I mean you can't help it. Like those
Yeah.
I mean not a fan of the dude's politics by any means, but you kind of can't help but like some of those records are just they're really good. And I'll be listening to other stuff, and then the playlists, gods were like, dude, you cannot be listening to this and not appreciate this record. And it's like, all right,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, it's iconic stuff, and I was 16 years old when that stuff came out, so it played a huge part of musically, me finding like, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this stuff existed. It was early 90s when all that stuff was going on. I'm an older dude, so like I grew up with Mayhem, Burzum, Dark Throne, Gorgoroth, and it was Immortal, so
Yeah.
it still sticks with me whether and yeah, I don't like to admit it, but
Yeah.
it's music that, basically shaped, me into my, going on almost 50 years old.
Hey,
Hey, Lee.
how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good. Getting my volume turned up. Make sure I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can, but I am kind of deaf, so
Okay. Speak loud.
yeah.
Have a busy weekend.
Yeah, lots of running around. So we just got back from Iceland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
we did a vow renewal with the Ask the True Assembly. So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
Did the kids go with you or
they
just you
did.
two?
They did.
Very cool. What'd they think of it?
They enjoyed themselves
Yeah.
between fighting constantly.
I mean, siblings will be siblings.
Yes, they will.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, especially after just getting back from a trip like that,
Sure.
to chat with me.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, you are one of the co-owners of Brimming Horn Meadery.
Yep.
Um, and then people might have seen that if they've been to any of the Decibel Fests, and you guys have worked with a number of bands to create unique mead offerings, like OC and the Jupiter was one,
Yeah.
Incantation. Didn't you guys just do like Demolition Hammer or something?
We did a beer with Demolition Hammer, Dismember, which is my favorite. Uh,
Yeah.
Enslaved, Junius, which was awesome. Rosetta, yeah, Immolation. Lots of really like awesome band. So,
That's like, where did you and John kind of come up with that concept? Like, did you always know that you wanted to uh, it, combine like metal and mead? Was that kind of the thought from the beginning, or?
it kind of happened organically. I played in a lot of black metal bands in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So one of my good friends, Chuck Sherwood, played for a band called Bloodstorm in Philly. So we played a lot of shows together. Um, Hooked back up with him, and he was playing bass in Incantation. So we were all, he knew John, so we were all friends, and we're like, oh man, maybe we should do a mead for you guys, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So like the second meet we did was with Junius, who was on Prosthetic Records, and friend of a friend, grew up with the guys. They're one of my favorite bands. And then the dudes from Rosetta did a split with Junius, and then they reached out, and so it was a lot of like definitely organically done. And then a lot of bands that I knew for a long time, and then became good friends with the A&R guy from Prosthetic Records, Steve Joe. So we started working with a lot of the prosthetic bands, became friends with them, and then it snowballed from there. And then Steve and I ended up uh, working on Bolverk Collective, which is a record label and apparel company and stuff now. So yeah, it's all full circle at this point.
Oh, because I was going to ask you about that too, because I've been noticing that more lately, but that's something you've been doing for a while now or kind of been in the works.
Since last November,
Okay.
we started. So the first release that we did was an autumn. They used to be called an autumn for crippled children. So like a big shoegaze black metal band from the Netherlands that Steve and I were huge fans of. And actually, I was talking to him, and that's why they ended up on Prosthetic Records. And then once Prosthetic dropped them, he's like, "Hey, do you want to put this album out?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I do."
Yeah.
And then so
So,
I think we put out 5 or 6 things now. So
yeah, I saw you just did Yotuma,
yeah,
the death metal band. We actually got to play with them I think it was last summer. They all run together now.
yeah.
Their bass player is phenomenal. Like
Oh, really?
yeah, oh my gosh, she's like, I wish. Like she's she was just incredible. Blew my mind. And they have a
That's
really good
cool.
sound too.
Yeah, yeah, very old school death metal. I get kind of bored with that style, but they do it really, really well, and like
Mhm.
everything's really heavy. Like Steve sent it to me because Steve lives out in Wisconsin, and he's like, "Hey, what do you think of these guys?" I'm like, "Man, this is really good."
Yeah,
And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna see if they want to do something." So we're releasing the CD and vinyl in September 12th, I think it is. So we're doing all
very
the
cool.
pre-orders for everything now.
So is it going to be more like a black and death label or
Uh, we kind of talked in the beginning of like, hey, what did we kind of want to focus on? And I think at this point now, it's just like if it's good, it's good. Like Steve and I are both really into like shoegaze black metal stuff, so we're releasing a Russian band, Aspa 1959, and it's that album's my favorite thing that we're putting out so far. That thing is incredible. It's
very
like it's like a mix of like I know this is awful, but whatever. It's a mix of like Burzum and The Cure.
oh
So
wow.
it's the vocals are very harsh. The music's really pretty, so it's got it's just sits perfectly in that like I don't know if you want to call it like DSBM or that shoegaze black metal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I've
we've
seen that
we've
pick
done a
up
few.
too. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry. And like um because admittedly I mean outside of like maybe Burzum, I want to get in trouble, but I mean you can't help it. Like those
Yeah.
I mean not a fan of the dude's politics by any means, but you kind of can't help but like some of those records are just they're really good. And I'll be listening to other stuff and then the playlists, gods were like, dude, you cannot be listening to this and not appreciate this record. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic stuff, and I was 16 years old when that stuff came out, so it played a huge part of musically, me finding like, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this stuff existed. It was early 90s when all that stuff was going on. I'm an older dude, so like I grew up with Mayhem, Burzum, Dark Throne, Gorgoroth, and it was Immortal, so
Yeah.
it still sticks with me whether and yeah, I don't like to admit it, but
Yeah.
it's music that, basically shaped, me into my, going on almost 50 years old now. So
Yeah. I mean, it shaped a lot of people. It shaped an entire genre. So, I mean, credit where credit's due, and I love that like the newer generations are taking it and doing their own thing with it while still like adhering to like certain formulas within it, like not like
mhm.
totally uh disregarding the art that was
Right. Yeah,
so
like the what everybody's been able to do now is black metal has turned into this I don't know, it's wild. There's so many different versions of it. You know, you had Ulver that turned into a synthwave band. You know, you had Catatonia when they started like super harsh, black metal, and they're goth rock now.
Yeah.
And then and then kids growing up now, like, oh, I didn't know Ulver was a black metal band. Let me go back and listen to that. Oh, now I'm going to, here's my next album, and it sounds like, Nottingham Madrigal or whatever. So it's kind of cool to see it like full circle.
Yeah, Sean's actually been on a big Ulver kick lately with the synth end of it. Not that he doesn't appreciate like the older stuff too. Sometimes I wonder, well, because you have, I'm sure you've had friends that were really into metal when you guys were younger, and then they don't listen to it as much anymore. So I don't know sometimes for like musicians if it's just kind of like a natural progression where they're like, I'm I'm kind of done with this writing this style. I want to experiment here. Like I don't feel like Ulver did it and they're like trying to sell records or something. It feels like it was just an organic process for them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he wanted to go into clean, Garm wanted to go into mostly just clean vocals and stuff. And I, what they're doing now is fantastic. So I can definitely agree with Sean on like, Ulver is always in my playlist because it's just so, it's just so good.
Yeah, that is. And you just had a record come out, or you have it coming out
This,
on
yeah,
Dark Adversary.
the EP just released, 2 weeks ago, I think, right before I left for Iceland.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What?
that was cool. So kind of going back to what you were saying, like metal musicians not really listening to too much metal. So the guy that I grew up with playing in bands together, he was a fantastic musician as far as like being able to create like songs, any genre, whatever. But we were both big black metal guys, and he had just gotten out of it completely. And he was just writing black metal albums that were incredible. And he's like, yeah, man, it's just a Cure album that I tremolo picked, just David Bowie, G.G. Allen, like he just stopped listening to metal altogether, and he actually got better as a songwriter. He unfortunately got into heroin and OD'd. So that's where Hellrune came in, which was the EP that just released now. So I play bass. So it's me, Chuck Sherwood from Incantation. So it's a two bass project.
Very cool.
Charlie, who does live drums for Incantation, Morbid Angel Holder, and then Max, who is in was in a whole bunch of bands with me, and then is also in a band called Zalbarai. They're like a Pennsylvania Dutch bluesy black metal band. It's pretty cool stuff.
That
So
sounds
these
cool.
this is yeah, they're fantastic. So it's basically four songs that Dan had like halfway finished. So we finished them all and added a little bit to it and went from there. And then Eric Baker from Chaos Moon, he's the vocalist. So
And so it's based on all his writing that you guys
yep.
finished up. Very, and you said like so when I looked at the shipping, I was like, oh, and then
Yeah.
I saw your post that you're going to be getting them in,
Yep. Yeah,
and
so I'll sell a bunch of them through Bolverk. That way people are paying, $6 in shipping and not, 30.
yeah, so I was like, ouch.
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome that the Dark Adversary guy put it out for us, 'cause we figured we were just gonna put it out ourselves, but
Yeah,
it's gotten a lot of really good hits from it, which has been cool. So
very cool. Definitely wanted to check out. I will get our order in as soon as you get them because I was like, oh,
yeah, yeah. We're doing vinyl too. I'm not sure what company that is on though. I can't remember. Chuck and Eric pretty much handled all that stuff for us. So
I'm glad to see people are still putting out vinyl. It's like I've done it more DIY. Obviously, OC is a little different because Eisenwald. But
yeah.
I'm like, man, the expense. And even as a collector, I've been purchasing less vinyl these last couple years because it's just not that I don't love it still, but I really miss being able to one, go to the record store and like dig and find some like affordable, but now it's like everybody knows what they have because like Discogs is really cool, but it sucks at the same time. time
Yeah.
because it's like everybody's like trying to get their top value for things. And I just like, I genuinely miss the days. Like, I mean, the one record store by our house, like if they haven't sorted through it and it's like a used bin, like obviously not something coming in super mint that off the top of your head is worth something, but I found some great things for like $1,
Yeah.
$2. And those days are just like gone.
Yeah.
Maybe unless it's like the orchestra records. I do have a thing for those. I can still usually get those pretty
Fair.
cheap.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I
But
mean, finding anything now is, you have to have somebody that's just selling their entire collection, and usually that's going to get bought up by those big YouTubers, that like here's $5,000 I spent on this collection, and it's got, first
yeah,
pressings of all kinds of
awesome
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like when we were in Iceland, I bought a bunch of records of a bunch of like cool indie rock, Icelandic bands and stuff that I like. It was $50 a record. Yeah, it was like, okay, so the exchange rate from the kroner to the dollar is not good. So
No,
it would
no.
cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed too, like that used to be like my cutoff point for a record. It was like 50 bucks. It could be something I really wanted. And then I remember like the first time I spent like $80 on like an original pressing. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And now I'm like, you can pre-order a record and it's like $40 and it's a single LP. It's not even a freaking gatefold. And I'm like,
Oh
it's just
yeah,
getting out of control, in my opinion. Um, but
it,
then,
it costs us a small fortune.
mhm, it does. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
even to press them anymore, it
yeah. Yeah, so it's a hundred records is like $2,100 or something like that. Like it's, so you have to sell them for,
yeah,
even selling $25 or $30, you're making a couple bucks. Like, doing Bolverk, it's literally Steve and I are just like, let's try not to go broke,
yeah,
and, that, and,
exactly.
that, and that's about it. Like, we give the bands their records. We don't take any, we make a little bit of profit so we can put it into something else. But
That's the goal. It's
yeah,
just
that's it.
I worry about like smaller labels though, because like not that I'm like the average consumer, but I think in to some degree, like I have a budget, cost of living keeps going up, so it's like hard to. I've bought a lot more CDs lately. Again, I used to like not. I went through a long time where I wasn't buying many CDs unless that was like the only option, and now it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll just get a CD, but even those are getting a little pricier. Not
Yeah, I
to.
mean, we were just going to be a vinyl only label, and
Mhm.
there was a bunch of bands that we wanted to kind of work with, but it was like, is are we going to sell 100 of these records of some, no name Russian band, or band from the Ukraine or whatever? So let's get into some CDs, and we'll do like small run CDs, and sell them for $10 and get the music out there. And if it explodes, then maybe do vinyl or something like that. But
Yeah. I mean, you know your audience, because I do think like in the extreme market, especially vinyl is still, I mean, for a lot of people, the preferred, like where they would still rather get it. And it's kind of sad because I feel like the extreme community specifically and a lot, well, and I guess underground too, and the indie scenes and elsewhere, when there wasn't a vinyl resurgence, that's the all the people that kept it going. And then, Taylor Swift thinks it's cool to have a record, and all of a sudden the whole fucking market goes to
yeah,
shit. Like it's like
and,
they
and
priced out all the like underdogs, and not just her. I mean, like Adele. I mean, even Metallica ran up the
yeah,
presses. So,
yeah, it was, I think Adele was, I think she pressed 1 million copies of her one album. Like that's fucking crazy. Like that's
mhm.
that's crazy. So, you got these big name, and it's like anything else, it's going back to the meat industry and the beer industry and stuff, like the big guys can do whatever they want because they got billions of dollars, these huge musicians, and their giant labels, billion-dollar labels behind them. They don't give a shit, man. They'll crush every small business and every band and not even think twice about it.
Yep. And they hold all the cards. I wish I had an answer to like make things better. I just bitch about it.
Yeah, it's not, it's capitalism, and it's in its finest form, I suppose.
Yeah, the very late end of it. We're all
Yeah.
feeling it. Um, but you guys are also doing apparel. How is that part going? I love some of those shirts. The y'all motherfuckers need Thor and
Yeah. Yeah, Dan Apollo, who is the artist for Brimming Horn, him and I were talking about doing like an apparel company. So it's basically Bolverk Apparel, Bolverk Records. So we joined it into the collective. It's slow, trying to start any kind of shirt thing, but all the art's by Dan. It's all it's all super cool. It's all based on like the darker side of Norse mythology.
yeah,
Kind of like I don't want to say the negative side, but it's also kind of promoting like this is why you don't want to get into the darker side of heathenry and stuff like that. So a lot of it's there's the Thurser curse, the Mound King, which is what we use for the Bolverk records. It's all kind of about death and chaos, and so it fits well with a metal label.
for sure.
But we still needed to add that y'all motherfuckers need Thor. So that's been our best selling shirt. So
I could see it. Like I
yeah,
feel like that's a very good gym shirt.
yeah. It's funny, so all that stuff is I think we have almost 10 designs, I think, on the website. So there's lots of different stuff than what I had at like the festivals and stuff. So
Cool. I need to go check it out. I'll probably do like an overlay too, so people can see
oh
uh
yeah,
the designs.
yeah, thanks. Thank you.
um, no worries. Uh, do you find it difficult though? Because you're a family man, you run a couple businesses, and then you're also a musician. So, do you find it difficult to find balance and like how are you prioritizing?
Um, so family first always. Um, it took a while to get to that point because when you start a new business, you're working 80 to 100 hours, 7 days a week. I think when John and I first started, we worked 7 or 8 months straight. So literally we worked at our first jobs and then would go in the evening to Brimming Horn to, John would make mead. I'd work on the books or whatever. And then the weekend, him and I would, and a friend of ours would run the bar. And we did that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we did that for a long, a long time, too long. So, I missed a lot of stuff with the family as did he. So, once we were able to kind of get it rolling a little bit, we didn't start getting weekends off though until maybe 2 years ago. We
Wow.
were still, because we've been 8 years. So yeah, 6 years into it, and we were working six days a week basically. So, always prioritize the family and stuff. Like Bolverk stuff I'll work on the weekends. Usually at late at night after everyone kind of falls asleep, I'll jump on the computer and try to create some Instagram stuff or whatever. And I suck at all that stuff. So it's it's been trying to say the least. So, between Steve Job, knowing a lot of people from working with prosthetic, we've been able to get the name out there and us being friends with the dudes from Decibel because we always do their beer festival in Philly and Denver. So, they've been cool and give us a little blurb here and there in the online or in the magazine or something. So yeah, so as family, then meadery takes pretty much all my time. And
Yeah.
then I
And those
kind
two
of
are
do it.
kind of intertwined too, because like when you have a family, you do have to be able to support said family. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you need money to do both. So and then yeah, the Bulwark stuff I kind of do as to not go crazy, even though we
yeah,
don't make any money with it. It's something nice that I can be like, I'm not focused solely on the back end of, the books and stuff like that and trying to figure out like how we can make more money.
yeah,
I can like, oh, I'm gonna, I'll create the booklet for, this band or, I'll put a video together. Just, learning
keep it
new
creative.
little things. Yeah, yeah, kind of get my brain,
Oh,
off of one stress and put it on another.
story of life.
Yeah.
And you guys do, I've noticed like a lot of your festivals and things at Brimming Horn are typically free. And is that because of the location? Is it, you know,
Um, kind of, well, yes and no. So we started everything free mainly because of kind of the location. So you can walk up on the trail and just sit and listen to the bands that somebody paid money for.
yeah,
Not really a fair thing because you can't really police it. There's that bike trail that runs behind us. So, we can't be like, hey, you can't just stand there. I mean, I guess we could, but, you know,
yeah, but
pr-
not the best
prospective
business move.
clients, yeah. So,
Or if people wanted to come in and just have some mead, you don't necessarily want to deter them, I'm assuming.
exactly. And that's kind of how we went with everything. So, we did actually just start charging for our 793 party, like a 793 event.
Oh,
Yeah, but by charging, it's $5 a day or $10 for the weekend. So it's very minimal,
yeah,
helps us kind of pay for the bands. Then we donate like a good portion of that money to charity too now. So, we want to kind of get a little bit more philanthropic with everything. So, we picked an animal charity this year to, we were able to give them a lot of money, which was cool.
that's
And
great.
then yeah, pay the bands, because this year we had Ashbringer and Woe, Burial Oath, uh, bunch of other City and Tongue. So a bunch of
Yeah,
other really cool bands, and we've had like Junius was our headliner one year. Those dudes only play 3 shows a year in the U.S., and one was our rinky dink meadery in
that's
Buck,
awesome.
Delaware. So that was super cool. And a bunch of prosthetic bands, early on. So we got to talking, and John mentioned, hey, let's maybe look at charging this year. So
Yeah, because I was curious because I mean, like I've played too, and it's you guys put on a great it's a great experience. I told Sean if we weren't, I was kind of bummed like not to be on tour in Europe. That was awesome. But so like I was like after playing it the year before, I was like, man, this would be like really fun just to come hang out for the weekend too and enjoy like or even if you are playing like I would like, we were on tour running around that time. I was like, I would have really enjoyed to be there at least a couple of the days and just like because it's just a cool scene for anyone who doesn't hasn't ever been there. Like the vendors, there's so many cool vendors. Uh, the things people are wearing, just the whole vibe. The place. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
we try to. I mean, it's part of like a 793. It's based on the June 8th, 793 was the first raid into Lindisfarne, England. So we celebrate the murder of monks and burning of churches and stuff with a Viking festival in the middle of Delaware, by the beaches. So it just kind of started off. We got some like reenactor folks that came in, like, oh man, we should do some sort of cool like Viking and metal thing. We were able to reach out to some cool bands and kind of just snowballed from there. It's gotten bigger and bigger like every year. So this coming year, we have a little bit more planned. The the two folks that were helping us with everything, actually, they got a really good business opportunity, so they're going to be backing out of it. So now we'll be back to, finding, some different sets of Vikings with, shield wall training and battle reenactments and all kinds of stuff. So it should be just as cool. We already got a couple of bands that are already signed on for next year, so
Great. I
should
can't
should
wait
be
to
good.
see.
But yeah, it's a good time. So
Yeah. Um, peeking at my notes. Like live music though, is that always your intention? Like, did you guys always intend to get into doing some live music with the meadery or just kind of happened?
it was always kind of discussed, because a lot of places always have live music. We mostly have just cover bands or singer-songwriter stuff. It's only when we throw our big festivals that we can actually get like real metal bands to come because people down here don't really support that kind of stuff. So everyone has to sort of drive in down here to see things. Um, so by just doing it a few times a year makes it a little bit more kind of makes it a little bit more special. But like when I went to college, my goal was to eventually open up like a venue. So I wanted to do something like that. It just so happened like I met John, he wanted to open a meadery. We ended up doing that, and just brought them, just brought my background with the music and all that stuff into it as well. And there for a while, we were the only meadery that did metal collaborations. Now you had a few more that kind of jumped on the coattails with that and have done some big bands and stuff, which was cool. But I still like to think that we were the OGs in the Mead world for Mead and metal collabs. So.
Yeah, no, it's a cool concept. And I mean, honestly, the live business thing, it's a really challenging industry. I mean, it always has been, but now it's like pretty much anyone I talk to that owns a venue is they have to rely on other aspects of their business to fund that part of the business. And
Hmm.
I kind of dread what that means for, I mean, that, and if people think it just like happens in a vacuum, like just, oh, okay, well, some other venue will open up and stuff. And it's like, it's not really how that works. And if you don't have these venues, like, how do you get the organic, like, up and coming bands and
Hmm.
who aren't like, yeah, I'm kind of worried about that part of the scene. So I'm really thankful that you guys are able to, give people a space and,
Yeah, and it's been awesome to be able to do that. Ray and Sammy from Bastion's Wake, they handle all the music stuff for us. Like we couldn't do anything without those guys at all. Ray's a music nerd, super genius when it comes to sound, man, and like we constantly get like I can't believe that playing outside sounds like this, and it's incredible. Like he does such an incredible job that, enables us to do that. But, we were kind of one of the first places to give them an opportunity to play somewhere live.
yeah,
So it worked out that, like, hey, we want to be a part of this, do the sound and stuff for you. And, it just worked out great. So now I can get these like really awesome, intricate bands, and they're just like, man, everything sounded incredible. I'm like, yeah, I
yeah.
know, I told you.
He's so good. I actually just talked to Sammy for this series as well this past week. So that's going to be going up. And I
Oh,
think you're
nice.
going up right after her. So
Yeah.
all the connections there.
Yeah.
Now, I love both of them. Ray does a phenomenal job with sound and he's super comfortable to work with too. Like, just,
Hmm.
he's
Yeah.
not,
Well, you guys just did our 8 year with Blood and Sun and the Chachwan, and it sounded like a CD. It was out in the middle of literally of the Grove. There was nothing there, and it sounded incredible. Like it was just,
that
very
that
cool.
whole vibe was awesome. Like playing over there, like right in with the trees. That's some of my favorite stuff, especially when playing with OC, being in that like outdoor among the pines. Like it's
Yeah.
so fitting.
Yeah, yeah. We had just installed the God poles, and we were talking. It was like let's put because Blood and Sun and you guys are all heathen bands. So it was like let's put them in front of the God poles, and try to create this like this aura. We had all the lights were just installed, to give it that like really cool backdrop. The unfortunate part was the early parts of July, so it didn't get dark until 9 o'clock. So it didn't have that specialness until Blood and Sun went on. But it was
Oh,
it
it's
was it
still
was
work.
awesome. Yeah,
Like
people
we
still are
got the
talking about it
sunset. I was happy.
there.
Like
Yeah,
I like
straight.
that. And you guys have a Seaford location, I'm told.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We do. Yeah, so we have a second location. So it's Brimming Horn, Seaford, but then also we've started a brewery, which is Bear Cult Brewing Company, that is also located in the Seaford building.
Building. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you guys do you guys have music or any events going on there yet, or just kind of?
Um, the music we have there is it's an interesting spot as you know. So it's literally just classic rock, singer-songwriter, cover bands. Like, we can't really bring it's super small. It's a larger building for production reasons, but the
Right.
tasting room is a lot smaller. So we have mostly all the music either outside, so we can't even really have bands within city limits and stuff. So,
Okay. I was
but
just curious. I've been in there, goes to the tap room and stuff, but then when we drove by it actually on our way out to the uh anniversary show, we saw people sitting outside and I was like, oh, that looks really nice. Like
yeah,
how it was set up. I think when we first went there, I don't know if the patio was open yet or what.
probably not. We had to get a whole license. Delaware
I see.
got licenses for everything, so we had to have a patio license. We had to get it fenced off and, and all that kind of fun stuff. So, but
Bureaucracy.
yeah, yeah. But we do want to have you and Sean out there. Sean was talking that you guys have your own like acoustic project, so like that would
Yeah.
go over. That would go over fantastic. I mean, even OC would go over well there, or any of the Chotch one and stuff like that. But like,
Nice
I can't
quiet
bring,
stuff.
yeah, I can't bring like bands in there because no one's gonna give a shit.
No, I mean it's hard enough to convince them there's a brewery there. So
Yeah, you won't get me started on that.
I know. I
We've been
had to
there two
poke a little.
years. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know you guys were here. Like, yeah, 2 years, man.
Need a flashing sign or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're talking about getting like I forget what they call them. Basically, it'll say like live music and the dates, marquee,
Marquee, yeah.
like a stand up like marquee, just to let people know. I mean, 5,000 cars drive past it every day, but it's like, nobody puts
Everybody's in
two and
their
two
own
together.
world. They really are.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mead, Mead's not the most known about, especially up there. It's one of the reasons why we started Bear Cult is to, people that don't want to try it, like, oh, well, now we have, four, five, six beers on.
Yeah.
John was a head brewer at Dogfish Head for like almost 15 years. So I mean,
Yeah, I remember him telling me about that. And I mean, he's a damn fine job, good job with mead. I haven't tried the beer yet, but
yeah, I
I
mean, he's been
will.
doing mead since he's been 16, so good 30 plus years that he's been doing mead. So his mead is incredible and his beer is good. Like I'm not a huge beer guy. I always just really liked mead, but even
Yeah,
I'm like, man, this is a pretty good beer. Like,
true heathen.
yeah, yeah.
So before we wrap up, do you guys have any new mead coming out? Any bands we might know?
Um,
If you're
we
allowed to say.
well, we're planning on doing one for Decibel in Denver with Austin and Panopticon.
Okay.
So we're still in the very, very beginning stages of that, which we'll probably do the second release of the Agalock mead that we did last year, some at some point this year. Um, we're the official mead of Soulfly, so we have
Oh,
we
I
have
saw that. Oh,
yeah
Max Cavalera. Yeah.
yeah, so we have their mead. That's weirdly enough has been a slow seller. His fans do not buy alcohol, which is kind of wild.
That's
Um,
surprising, actually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like when he did a video of it when it first came out, and it got like 1,500 likes or whatever, and we're like, oh my God,
It's
this is
gonna
gonna
sell out.
explode. And we had just done a meet for Eternal Champion called Soul Seeker, and it outsold it in 2 days.
That's
Yeah,
surprising.
yeah. So I think they have a new album coming out in October or something like that. Soulfly does. So I think we're gonna do like a secondary release.
That'd be cool. I should have tried that in my guys'
Yeah, yeah, we have to ship some.
Well, next trip I'll be there.
Yeah, it's a mulberry mead, so it's good. Like Max, I guess, as a kid growing up in Brazil, loved eating mulberry.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'll be back to the family and I'll be sure to link everything on the blog post ideas, all your links and
Cool.
check out the Mead, the music, everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Buy everything.
yeah, and I'm sure we'll run into you before the end of the year. We plan on getting back out to Delaware before the year's up. So
More than likely. Yeah, just look us up. Let us know.
I will. All right. Take
See
care.
you guys. Bye.
Bye.